Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey man, do your thing.
Hey everyone, I'm Acomi.
Hey everybody, my name is Turk182.
Welcome to Our Moms Think We're Funny.
Bump, bump, bump. Tailspin.
We've been on a bit of a 90s kick this weekend, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Sorry, you said that and the first thing that popped in my mind was Model by Day.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched Model by Day based off of the hit comic book Model by Day, which everybody's heard of. We watched some Savage Dragon, which is undoubtedly the lowest possible point of Jim Cummings' career.
And we also, we just watched one episode of the Ultra Force cartoon from the 90s.
Which was better than Savage Dragon, but when the bar's that low, that's not an accomplishment.
Yeah, but it can't beat Wildcats.
I like Wildcats, yeah. But I think the animation quality was a little bit better on Ultra Force. But
yeah, except for the Phantom Cell.
Just a random ass.
That's funny because in Wildcats we had the animation clipping where like the fist came through the door.
Yeah.
of the background plate before like the door opened, and then here we had an animation cell that appeared in the middle of like the one scene. What, like 10 minutes or 7 minutes before that actual scene even took place?
Yeah. So it's just a fight scene, and you see a character get shot who's not even in the fight. It's like, was that Prototype? It's like, yeah, that was Prototype. And we're like, they must have like messed up a cell or something. And so then, yeah, like 10, 15 minutes, or I guess, yeah, about 10 minutes later, Prototype's actually in a fight in a different scene, and he gets shot, and it's like, there's that cell! There it is!
Yeah, because Prototype ain't even shown up yet. I mean, other than him being like, them showing him in this show, like, he hadn't shown up in that fight scene at all. And
yeah, because he shows up at the end of that fight scene, he's like, yeah, I'm Prototype, I'm a wiseacre. Hey, I'm walking here.
Look at me, I got energy blast. Yo!
Everybody, I'm freaking Spider-Man!
Bada bing, bada boom, I'm out of here!
So, the common thread that I see through all this stuff, which I do want to say, the Ultra Force title sequence was really cool, the way they all, like, actually interact with their names.
Yep.
Because, like, Hardcase picks up his name, and it's all in block letters, and he, like, throws it. It's really cool. But,
it's very reminiscent of the X-Men cartoon, the opening scene where it shows them like doing something dramatic and having their name there.
Yeah. But yeah, the common thread with all of these shows is just the bad tough guy dialogue.
Oh yeah.
It's so bad. And I know we were laughing about it on our Night Owl episode with Watchmen of like Savage Dragon. Like Jim Cummings has an amazing range with his voice. And he can do some really deep voices, and I was talking last night, he voiced Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic Saturday Morning cartoon, and it's like the most menacing voice for any depiction of Robotnik I've ever heard. It's like super intimidating. So he can do like a deep, booming, scary voice if he needs to, but then Savage Dragon, it's just like this shitty little snot-nosed Bronx kid.
You expect any minute now for them to go, chug, 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 chug.
Yeah, and then just like, and I mean, I can't blame Cumming for it, but it's just, the dialogue is so bad. The dialogue is so bad. And he always looks into the camera and grins as he's saying it. So.
Yeah, even though he was going to go, he was like, Chicago PD rules!
So it'll be the middle of a fight scene, and he'll just like kick the door down and like look into the camera and grin and go, mind if I crash this party? It's like, oh, Jim, you doing okay, man? Are you well?
Oh. Yeah, that was bad. So then we watched some Ultra Force today, which is just, it's so wow. That's one thing I can say. It's just wow.
It's wow, yeah.
The animation is a little bit better, but for the... Sorry, it looks like Iron Man's taking a shit in the hot tub.
I was about to say, it looks like he's just having a massive orgasm.
So now while we're doing this, we're watching the I don't want to go.
Jason, get out of the water, Jason! Go swimming! Go swimming!
We're watching the first episode of the Iron Man cartoon from the 90s. It's so bad. And there's something particular that I want Acomi to see. So unfortunately, we're going to have to watch a couple episodes because you really have to see it. It makes absolutely no sense at all, like why they chose to do it this way. But anyway, the Ultra Force cartoon, like they kind of introduce each character, but like you said, everybody just uses tough guy dialogue, and then when they do say something like the Mutt's like, he acts like he's on drugs. Kevin, come back, Kevin. Why are you acting like this?
Oh, won't somebody stop these ultras from stealing all of our nukes?
Kevin, crack is whack. Give it up, baby. We still love you. I got you this signed photo of Nancy Reagan. Oh, hey, would she stop listening to all that heavy metal music? It's just perverting his brain. That Vanilla Ice is just no good.
Oh, it's great. It's really great.
And then they have like scenes in the cartoon that make no sense at all. Like all the tanks that pull up, the tanks apparently only have two drivers, and they both sit like in the turret control and the machine gun control, and that's it.
Yep.
Things explode sometimes in like big bright orange fashion with debris going everywhere, and then sometimes it's big flashes of silver.
And no debris.
Right.
So, sometimes the helicopters will explode with just no shrapnel or debris at all.
But
oh god, the dialogue.
At least the soldiers in Ultra Force actually had guns that they shot.
Yeah.
As opposed to the cops in Savage Dragon who had no guns at all. They didn't even have like radios. They had no walkie-talkies,
nothing. They didn't even have billy clubs.
No.
Like they had nothing.
They had the dragon. Wow.
God, the dragon could have been so cool. I mean, we've talked before. Savage Dragon's got such a great design. He's got such an iconic, cool design.
And I love the fact he's a cop, too.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like original.
Yeah, like that does add a lot to the character, but then they just handle it so badly. And I can't speak for the comics. Like, they've never really interested me enough to try to read them. Someday I will. But all I know about the comics, and we've laughed about this a number of times, all I know about the comics is that eventually Eric Larson just got bored and would just start drawing softcore porn throughout the pages.
Yeah, they
And I remember that, like, the example I saw, that was like a full splash page of Savage Dragon just like laying face down on his bed with his ass sticking up. It's like, okay.
He started dating or married the one girl. I don't remember what her name was because I never really read it. She was a black girl with the hair, and I think she wore like a purple outfit. And like there's one like her, like most of her costume were like ripped off or something. And of course she had She Dragon and all that. I was like, wow. And then something happened, I guess, a couple of years back with like Savage Dragon's son and like something sexual with like him and the I don't even know what it was. But
I forgot that he had a son.
Yeah. Anyway, I was like, wow, that was insane. But it's kind of it's interesting to think that all these people were pushing, trying to get their cartoons out to sell their toys or whatever. It's like, here's all the hot properties. Everyone's just trying to cash in on the 90s. They're just trying to cash in on it. And you got all these cartoons that are coming out that are just so like quickly done and rushed to production. You can see it. It shows in every detail.
Just consistently bad.
And then you got like Todd McFarlane, who just waits. He's just sitting there in the cut, just waiting. And he's like, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make a deal with HBO, and I'm going to make my character just like he is, pretty much in the comic book. It's going to be an adult show. But I know kids are going to watch it because it's animated, it's Spawn, and they're buying the comic book. And I'm going to get really good like production value out of it. I'm going to get great animators.
Yep.
Going to get really good voice talent, and I'm going to make it better than that movie that came out. And it was. I watched the Spawn cartoon. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
and it was very true to the comic book. So, I mean,
I remember
it was what it was.
I remember listening to an interview with Todd McFarlane, and he said that he was able to cut most of his meetings short with all the studios because every time they would have a meeting, and they'd be like, here's what we have in mind, and here's the toy line we have in mind, and his first question would always be, can I say fuck in the show? And they'd be like, no, and he was like, have you read the book? Because if we're going to make a show of this, we're going to say fuck. And that usually ended the meetings.
I think I would just to show the very first episode would start off with like Al Simmons getting shot to pieces. He's like, "Fuck!"
I'm a big believer in just like setting people's expectations.
I do like the that I think that was kind of a smart move on Tom McFarlane's part to be like, I'm going to start my own toy line. So when I do start making my movie, my cartoon, or whatever, like, I don't have to negotiate with any of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I already have this all set up. It's already locked in. You guys want to make your Spawn t-shirts, your lunch boxes, your Spawn, toothbrushes and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But, I saw George Lucas. I know what's going on here. I'm going to go and get these toys locked down right now. But McFarlane Toys.
Todd Toys sounds a bit better.
Well, it was Todd Toys, but I think he got sued or maybe not sued, but he got a nice little letter from, was it Mattel or Hasbro or whatever, because of like one of their Barbie doll things named Todd. Honestly, I know people that know like the full story, but I don't really give a shit that much to really know the whole thing. But anyway,
right.
But yeah, they were like, yeah, you got to change the name of it because they didn't want to get confused with their character so it became like McFarlane Toys. That's like the story I remember.
Okay.
Okay, so
I like McFarlane Toys.
I think his toys back in the day when they first started out, they weren't that great, but they were pretty good. I think I owned like 4 or 5 different versions of Hamburger Head Spawn. Because when I saw it, I was like, dude, it's Spawn without his mask on. And then I bought his line of toys like I gave all of those to Leroy Roscoe Leroy.
Yeah.
So I had McFarlane Toys from like when they first came out, all the way through. God, it was one of like Movie Maniacs 2 or something like that, or like some line. It was even like the Twisted Fairy Tales or some shit like that.
I love Twisted Fairy Tales.
I had them through quite a bit. Now I didn't get all the stuff like some of the music ones. I didn't do. And I didn't do the Little Nicky ones because those were just hot garbage.
Well, it's Little Nicky. So.
Well, one of the action figures for Little Nicky, and I kid you not, man, one of the action figures was his like bulldog or whatever it was,
mm-hmm.
And the action figure for the bulldog actually shot a missile from its penis. I am not joking.
Love it.
I hate Little Nicky so much. I can't even enjoy it. Even for Quentin Tarantino's sake. and normally I can do like, hey, Tarantino, okay, yeah, I can at least appreciate it for nope, I can't even appreciate it for that.
What did Tarantino do with Little Nicky?
He's the blind preacher on the street.
I never watched Little Nicky. I heard that it was shit.
Well, good. I wish we could swap brains then.
You trust me, you don't want this brain.
Trust me, you don't want this brain.
But yeah, so yeah, we've been really enjoying the 90s this weekend. Just great decade. Simpler time. So, watching Iron Man show, and he just transformed for the first time using his briefcase armor, which is really kind of stupid because he was in his like Stark headquarters. Yeah.
And then he takes his briefcase. I'm like, well, you're in your headquarters. Why are you carrying the briefcase armor? Just go to your thing. Yeah. And he puts it on, and it expands into this big full suit. It doesn't make any sense. But all of a sudden, when he goes to put the helmet on, which has feet, and he uses some kind of like magnetic ray to lift the helmet up, it changes from 2D animation to this CGI animation for no reason at all. Just for him to put the helmet on, and then it changes back.
Then he looks around like he knows that it changed. Like he like looks at his hands like, whoa, I'm 3D.
It's like Homer. Like, oh, I'm all bulgy.
You're out of cakes.
Like, I don't understand. Like, why was that necessary? That particular, like, for him to change like that. Like, what?
It was the 90s. They looked for excuses to do CG shit back then.
But I mean, if that's the case, then why not just make it whenever he's in the armor? Like, holy shit! Look at Hawkeye.
What? I mean, you didn't see Hawkeye earlier?
No. Did you not see the fact that they didn't color his outfit completely?
No.
So his whole back was all just flesh color?
No, I totally
You
missed
didn't
that.
see that?
Shit!
This is Iron Man episode 1.
This is a good...
Season 1, episode 1, and the sea shall give up the dead.
What a good franchise.
Oh, you watch this, man. When they cut to that, oh. Even like the back of his head.
Wow.
That was so creepy.
Wow.
Are you Hawkeye or the Flash?
But yeah, so we've been talking about the 90s a lot, and we decided, you know what, we should do a review of a really important and iconic 90s comic.
Yes. This was groundbreaking in so many ways. It was one of those things that it was breaking the barrier on what people perceived as, you know.
It was subverting expectations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what you think you... Okay, I'm sorry. They're on the ocean floor and they have these domes around their heads so they can breathe. Mm-hmm. But Hawkeye still has his arms just hanging out. I know it's cold as hell down there, and the pressure's got to be pretty significant.
I think, yeah.
But it's okay. That's no problem.
But yeah, you know, people were really starting to learn what the medium was capable of back then. Right. And, you know, they were starting to realize, oh yeah, you can do superhero stuff and make it dark and gritty like Watchmen and like Dark Knight Returns. They were starting to realize it's like you could talk about some pretty heavy subject matter like Mouse. Mm-hmm. You know, they were really starting to embrace the possibilities. So one man... And you could address social issues. Yeah, definitely. And so one man decided, you know what, I'm going to really address this social issue. And so we're going to be reviewing Shadowhawk. Shadowhawk 2, Issue 2.
Yes, Shadowhawk 2, Issue 2. So
and I'm guessing it's like technically Season 2 or like Series 2 or whatever.
I think it's more like Series 2. And in this one, this is a couple things they used to talk about is, you know, Shadowhawk was a villain from the Image universe that he didn't believe in killing, I think to my knowledge. He didn't believe in killing, but he was a firm believer in crippling. And so when he found a bad guy, and he was like, "You're a bad guy, and my name's Shadowhawk," and he would break their spine, he would take his arm, he'd grab by by the head, and he'd take his forearm, she had like a big metal plate along his forearm, and he would just pull him backward and push him, getting the cracking is like, "Ah, you'll never commit any crimes again that require you to walk. Unless it has a ramp, you won't be committing a crime here." So
I guess we should start by describing the cover, which it's a back shot.
Yes.
In the extreme foreground is Hawkeye, Shadowhawk.
Shadow Hawkeye.
Sorry, nude Hawkeye on the Iron Man show really threw me off there. Here we go for another bad CG transformation. I do like his undersuit there, though. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so Shadowhawk is lifting his helmet, but he's in silhouette, so you really can't see any details, but he's lifting his helmet, and there's a man in the midground screaming in terror.
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, what? Shadowhawk's revealing his face!"
Yeah, it's like he can't process what he's seeing. It's like, oh my god! So,
I have to say, the generic, like, brick wall background behind the guy that just has this weird, like, vent there, which, I mean, I don't know where he is. It could be at a factory or whatever, so the vent is fine, but the brick is a little overly cracked and...
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, maybe Shadowhawk got pissed at it a couple of times. It's like, "You stupid brick wall!" It's like, "You'll never walk again!"
There's like a little archway up here going behind the logo, so I don't know.
That's the ear of his...
No, I mean like the archway of the bricks. See how they're...
Oh, that archway, sorry.
Yeah. I do kind of like the use of negative space on the brick wall, though. I have to give him props for that. I'm not going to be a total ass about this.
No. Well, I think that goes to the opening page of the book, which is the kind of Sin City, Frank Miller, like black and white, like rain homage thing there.
Yeah.
I do have a serious problem with this, other than the fact that I think it's kind of unnecessary, because it clearly is, and I'm not going to use the term rip off, but it clearly is playing off of that. Like, I want to convey the same kind of feeling, so I'm going to just do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with it is the rain.
Because it's all just negative space?
No. You have some rain that's just falling straight down, and you've got a couple of like stray shots that are coming in on an angle.
Yeah.
But they're not consistently coming in at the same angle. So if the wind were blowing, they should all be coming in roughly the same kind of pattern. But if that's the case, then all of it would be coming in at that way. Not just some coming straight down, and then some coming at these like look at that. This one going this way and that one going that way.
Depends.
And then these shots are coming there. It's almost like the rain's coming down and someone, like a bunch of people are shooting him with like water guns from like the roof.
It kind of depends on the harshness of the breeze, because like this rain, like way in the back, could be in the extreme background.
Except for the ones that are hitting his mask right there in the foreground, they're coming straight down.
Yeah, there's that. It's not good.
Maybe standing under a drain pipe. I don't know. I'm not Shadowhawk. Or I could be, because when he's taking off his mask, we don't know yet until we get a little bit further in.
I don't know this guy's identity. I only ever read the first issue of Shadowhawk, so... But it's important. This issue is called "The Secret Revealed." It's dedicated to Will Eisner. Will Eisner was a pioneer.
I'm sorry. There's the Secret Revealed, and then there's the Will Eisner thing, which I'm like,
We'll talk about that a bit.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Because you know where I'm going with that, right?
Oh, I totally know where you're going with that. You forget, I bought like 60 Spirit comics at the last con we went to, so...
Oh, God, yes, you did. Holy shit. We filled up a long box of comic books, and you bought a whole stack. That was my fault, too, because I was like, hey, look at these Spirit comics.
Yeah. You were like, yeah, there's 2 or 3 here, and I started going through the stack, and I just went, oh, no.
And then the guy, he went from, hey, he's like, let me get your short box for those books, just put them in. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, well, let me get your long box. Like, we don't need a long box, thanks, man. Don't upsell me, dude. I mean, you're a nice guy and all, and I appreciate it, but don't upsell me. And he's like, just in case, if you don't need it, you don't need it. I mean, it's like, and then next thing you know, it's like, yeah, we needed it.
Yep.
But he made us a really good deal on that. So, but he was really nice too. So, props to him, man.
Yeah, he was a good guy. But yeah, so dedicated to Will Eisner, who proved an artist can be a businessman, and for his great storytelling in Rain. So, this was created, written, and penciled by Jim Valentino. It was inked and lettered by Chance Wolfe. So I guess Chance Wolfe was just a tracer. I can make that joke because I ink, so...
What kind of name is Chance? My mama took one.
Backgrounds by Brad Foster. So they have a background artist, too.
Nice. Who did the in-betweens? I'm sorry, just asking questions, dude. Whatever. It's not that important, man.
There's not a lot I can say without incriminating myself to that.
And you don't want us incriminating ourselves.
Wow, this book actually had art direction. And hey, Trafficking by Laura Tavishati. So,
wow.
Pushing
that product, man.
All that trafficking. So we open up with Rain, which is very reminiscent of Frank Miller Rain, and not at all reminiscent of Will Eisner Rain. And he says, I hate the rain. Always have, always will. And then we have to rotate the book because it's a 2-page spread.
With more inconsistent rain spatter coming in.
This rain is fucking all over the place, man. There's some going up. There's rain that's going up at an angle here.
Yes. It's...
I won't be a total prick here. Shadowhawk's pose is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little Dragon Ball Z reminiscent to me.
I will say I do like the gargoyle he's standing on.
That is really tight, yeah.
So,
which I guess we got to give props to the background artist because Valentino didn't do it.
Well, I'm assuming he did this part, but then maybe like the buildings in the background like that he didn't do, but he did this because I was like that. He did like all the really cool scenes. He did those, and then all the shit he didn't want to be bothered with.
All I have to go off of is the Cerebus books, and the way Dave Sim and Gerhard would work is that Sim would basically just do like the rough outline. He would just do like a box here, and then just write gargoyle here, so Gerhard knew what to draw.
Oh. Interesting.
So, I mean, and I'm not saying that that's the way it is with all background artists. That's just like, that's the only metric of what I studied really, really closely.
But I have to say that this page right here it's way too much. There's way too much rain coming down. The city would be underwater with that much rain, and it's distracting because there's so much rain coming down.
The problem here I have as a comic artist is that there's nowhere for your eye to rest.
I would agree.
It's all tone all across the paper. It's all this consistent staticky white noise. And there's not even like a good area of solid black for your eye to rest. It's just busy, busy, busy.
And where the rain is like hitting in spots, like especially on the background wall and stuff, it kind of looks like a
Bukkake.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to find a better word to say, but yeah, it kind of looks like that. Like it's like Shadowhawk visits Japan.
He's not motivated by revenge, Turk.
He's not.
He's only interested in justice.
Justice.
And under his rules, the guilty get punished. So I guess he's interested in draconian, totalitarian justice.
So if that's the case, then shouldn't it just be like, I should only break the backs of people who broke the backs of someone else?
An eye for an eye?
Yeah.
He says, I catch them in the act of committing violent crimes. I deal with them. My methods seem harsh, even brutal to some. I don't care.
I don't care.
Society's better off without these scum run loose and my time's run out.
My name's Shadowhawk. Whatever. I do what I want.
Alright. So hey, we're flipping the book back up, right? This time it's different. This time someone's using my name! This time it's personal, so now he's gonna go break the back of somebody just because they're using his name.
Right.
I think he should have a nice long conversation with Lady X.
Oh, that'd be a great crossover. Shadowhawk and Lady X. That would be awesome.
Yeah, they could call it Shadowhawk by day.
Very nice. Okay, so...
And then they'd be like, his mask is kind of shaped like a V. I guess we could call him Mr. V.
That's right. He's V-Hawk. So the rain here, at least, is all falling down, and so the wind stopped blowing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to criticize about the final panel here with him jumping off the rooftop down to the ground, because you have a lot of, I think even comic books now, a lot of them still do this, but he's jumping off the roof in this really kind of twisted body pose, as if he's attacking him, but he's just jumping off the roof, so it would be almost impossible for him to get his legs out underneath him to land properly.
Oh, yeah.
He's just basically almost face diving, like he's belly flopping off of the roof to the street below.
Yeah. I do like the lighting here, though. Like the harsh lighting on the side from the lightning. That's decent.
Yeah, I can say that I like that.
You can tell they were loving that Photoshop, though.
So, if we go to the next page, and maybe there's more to it that we don't know yet, but...
Yeah, we're coming into this blind, by the way, people. By and large. We know what happens, we just haven't actually read the book.
So, you got these two, I guess they're cops talking, or I don't know what.
Maybe detectives.
But all of a sudden, like, it switches to the one guy is in the background, and his face just suddenly just completely obscured except for his hair. So his face is just black, but then it's two different tones of black to hide his features. Then the third panel goes to both of them with their features completely in black, but then you do have some other details like their clothing, which is just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then panel 4 is obviously a photograph.
That's a photo, yeah.
Then we cut to panel 5, which is the Predator's view of how these guys look, which I don't understand. Like, if someone's watching them, maybe that's why it switched to that, but it just looks like they just like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. And then...
Oh, they are good. They are cops.
Okay.
Because he says, you're a good cop, I respect it. That's how I'm gonna read all this dialogue.
And then the final panel, panel 7, where the one guy's face takes up the entire panel, but it's too much face for the guy. Like,
it's just like Paul stretched out.
Right. It's not good. And I do want to say this though. I think Jim Valentino is a pretty good businessman. I can't say I've ever was a really big fan of his artwork, but I will say that from my understanding, he's a pretty good businessman. This guy has been making comics since the 70s, maybe even earlier than that. I showed you the Valentino #1 I have, right? Mm-hmm. So he's been making comics for a while, and he's been staying in the business in one fashion or another. So, So this is nothing. This is not an attack on Valentino. This is an attack on the '90s because because if you go back, even again, not being a really strong fan of his work, but if you look at his Guardians of the Galaxy stuff that he did with Marvel, like it wasn't like this.
Right.
It was still very superheroic, but it wasn't like this. This is just straight '90s. This is model by day.
Yeah.
Shadowhawk by day, as you said. That's what this is.
Yeah, this is, it is the 90s. We'll blame the 90s, so.
Look at this Iron Man episode 2, Ultimo, and like his, the size of Ultimo keeps changing. And one moment he walks through a house and like the house comes up to his knees. The next minute he's walking down the street and he's like, the roof of the house comes up to his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, so he stepped on a fountain with his foot in like a big public fountain. And like it just crushed it with his foot. His foot completely like encompassed the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then the rest of them, like I don't know, maybe it's just a big feet, and the rest of them is like different sizes, just keep him from falling over.
So the cops are talking, and the one cop says, "Oh, I've got 2 nutcases out there now. One of them breaks people's spines for kicks. The other murders black males. Both are dangerous and extreme and have to be taken down no matter what the cost."
I mean, you really don't know if I break people's spines for kicks.
Yeah, like, you don't, I mean, unless he, like, jizzes on him afterwards, you don't know if he's doing it to get his rocks off.
Yeah, now you can't move. You can't stop me. You call me Louie.
I love the vulnerability. But then we have an ad for the Max, which is an infinitely better book than this.
Yeah.
I love the Max.
That's right.
And an ad for Spawn.
I love Sam Keith's signature.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Keith has such good art.
God, I love that. I love that Max issue where we talked about before, where he's
where his claws get glued
where he
shut.
glues his claws shut, and he goes, and I will say this about that again, very '90s, but also very surreal. I mean, it's not even tongue in cheek; it's surreal because when the Max is fighting the guy, and he ends up going into like a place where they have what was it, like turpentine or adhesive remover, and that's what removes the glue off his things. He's like, my claws are free. But knowing Sam Keith and the way he draws like ripped fabric and stuff, in one part, they end up in a shop and it's nothing but phone cords.
Yep.
And it's all the curly Q phone cords just hanging down. It's like, it's very surreal. There's no place like that, but he does that curly Q stuff. So it was so great to see that in there. And
I love it.
It's very so self-aware.
I love it, yeah.
It's awesome.
I feel bad for people who have to ink that kind of stuff, though, because it's like, oh no, put him in a building full of phone cords, that dick. But yeah, no, I love Sam Keith's stuff, and yeah, I highly recommend the Max to anybody.
It's like whenever I look at like some Jim Lee work, and I think like poor Scott Williams, like by the time he's 60, he won't be able to even like use a typewriter because his arthritis is gonna be so bad from like all those little lines.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like. And have to go over them. Yeah.
So the cops like, are you in or are you out, Spider-Man? And then the Ginger's like, oh, does this mean I'm no longer a suspect? And the cop's like, yeah, I guess it does. And he's like, okay, what do you need? I need a hot shot, someone who can move in and out, in out, the old in out, clean, low key. Got someone in mind. Heard you did tour with him. And then he holds up a picture of some guy with a skull painted on his face and a flat top, which is also extremely 90s. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's because I think they're sticking with the Rob Liefeld design for Chapel.
So it's a Liefeld character.
And Liefeld cannot draw black people's hair for anything, so he gives them all straight hair. And so, yeah, that's his flat top. So, interesting enough, originally... And I don't know the whole lore, so I'm just going off the lore as I knew it at the time. Al Simmons' Spawn was killed, was betrayed by his best friend, who was Chapel from Youngblood. And I forget this guy's name. He couldn't remember who it was that had betrayed him or who shot him. Anyway, he eventually figures it out. I think like issue 7 or 9 or 10 or whatever it is. Anyway. And he goes after him, and he's like, "You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor." And he attacks Chapel, and he's like, "It's me. I'm Al Simmons. I'm back." And so he ends up using his magic, and where Chapel used to paint this skull on his face like that, he ends up like using his magic as to burn his skin off, so that where that white skull is, like his skin is all burned off, like over that, so you can actually see his white skull. That then, I guess, got either replaced or retconned or something like that. Eventually, Chapel turned against the military and the government because of that they did and having to kill his best friend and blah, blah, blah. And so the government was like, you're not going to turn against us, because guess what? We just gave you AIDS. And if you want the cure, what?
The delivery, man.
Dude, it's the 90s, man. It was like, that's what the government did. He goes, plus he was black, so, it's like, since you won't smoke our crack at Chapel, we're going to give you AIDS.
That'll teach you.
Evil 90s white man government.
Here's that 94 crime bill, you fucks.
Smithers. So, anyway, he does eventually die or something like that. But then there was the whole like image thing or whatever, and then it was like, well, we're not liking like Rob anymore. We want to distance ourselves from him. Or I don't know all the full. I don't really care that much to learn it. I really don't. But then it became that no, it wasn't Chapel that killed you. That did that. It wasn't him. It was Priest. This female, her name was Priest, and that's why when you saw the image of the cross in the church, you thought Chapel, right? But it was actually Priest. And Priest is the person that you find in the Spawn movie that's working with Jason. Was it? I forget. I was almost at Jason Wingard. Was it Mastermind from the Brotherhood? I mean, that Hellfire Club.
Mm-hmm.
But his name is Jason. Is it Jason Wynn? I don't give a shit. Anyway, Martin Sheen. So anyway, Martin Sheen was working with Lady Heather, and anyway, the Priest is the one that actually killed Spawn and not Chapel. And then I think Chapel eventually did die. I think he got his cure for AIDS, but then he got something else, sickle cell. I don't know, and that killed him. But here's the thing. I like this. So Chapel is a government operative, right? He kills people for a living. He works with Youngblood. But this cop is like, hey, you know what? There's a guy I toured with in Nam. I might be able to get him to come take a look at this. Really? Because it just works like that? You're a cop and you just call the government, but like, send me Chapel.
Hey, Chapel, you busy? You got a minute? Do you mind coming on down here? But yeah, then there's some like crazy dude with a white mohawk.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's going bald, if there's a comb over, if it's a mohawk.
Yeah, it's a mohawk.
And that mask is...
It's inconsistent, because here it's like kind of hooked downward.
Right.
But then here it like flares out.
Well, I think it's supposed to flare out there because it goes at the eyes, but like there's... To do it from looking forward, it's... I don't know.
Yeah, but like see the curvature here along the bottom, but from the side it's like curving upwards. It's inconsistent. I
guess it's supposed to be a shadow because it looks like a hard green line there, but then there's not one there, but then you've got one there too.
Yeah, it's really inconsistent. But yeah, apparently they're mad because their boss wants this guy to team up with him, and then this redhead chick is like, I just want revenge on Shadowhawk for what he did to my brother, and we cut to Shadowhawk just punching his arm in up to the elbow into this guy's spine.
Now that's him using the forearm to break his back.
He's okay. So he's just doing like a UFC elbow strike. But
and the girl looks like Brigitte Nielsen, only with bigger nostrils.
She's like, the way he crippled Jamie, and Vendetta wants us to join him. So, and then then Mohawk dude here, it like talks like an old timey Bronx guy. He's like, I'd say you guys have got completely different agendas, and to tell you the truth, I'm not certain that Vendetta fits into my plans either.
Jamie's crying.
So
someone's still spooging all over the city too. I mean, look at that. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of page, but look at that, man. That looks awful.
God, Bukake from heaven. We got another photograph of a cityscape. So yeah, that background artist was like, "Fuck that! I'm not drawing that many buildings."
Okay, I was looking at that. I'm like, am I looking at that picture properly?
Which one? This here?
No. The back on the page on the left. This is a photograph, a framed photo. You okay there, You want to clip that mic some more? Shake your head tremors?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and just describe that for us.
So we cut into this guy in his home. He's leaving, Ma. He tells his mother.
I'm leaving, Ma. What? I'm going out. Don't forget your coat, dear.
Why is she Edith Bunker?
Don't forget your coat, Watchy.
And it's raining outside. You might want to take a hood. D.
This viscous white rain. It's like,
Don't forget your rubbers.
and yeah, so as he's leaving, we see this framed family photo of his ancestors.
What is it? What is it, Acomi? What are we looking at here?
Of his ancestors. Apparently, they moved to the city from the south. And
no, I'm not saying that we don't appreciate what your wife did.
Can't see a goddamn thing out of these eye holes. But did you notice the feet dangling off the edge here?
No, I did not know. I couldn't see it from where you were holding it. Wow.
So apparently there was a Klan meeting, and
they
lynched some people, and then somebody was like, "Smile for the camera, boys." Okay, so they did.
If you're, so I'm going to make a slight political statement here. Okay,
by all means.
If you're a white supremacist, okay, if you feel the need to hide that, then in my opinion, like, you're really not that proud of being a white supremacist, right? You'd be like, I mean, because anything else would be like, hey, fuck you. I don't like you ninjas, right? And, and not that you have to come up in every conversation, right? But I mean, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to have people over to your house, then probably they have the same agenda that you have. They wouldn't come over and be like, man, it's like, I can't wait to watch that game. But like, oh, hey,
hey, friends of yours?
Yeah, you could, that's a genuine swastika. And then grandma's sitting there knitting a blanket. This is Jews go home or whatever. I mean, anybody
Palestine.
Right, anybody that you know that is going to come over to your house, going to be friends of yours, they're going to know exactly who you are. But would you really have a framed photo of a lynching there and be like, yep. It's like,
oh, I remember my first lynching.
Like, that's like a scrapbook? Maybe. You might be like, hey, this is weird. Why do you just have this kind of random piece of rope hanging up there? Well, there's a story behind that rope.
Framed right over the fucking mantelpiece, man.
Right.
And he's grabbing some kind of mask thing.
But would you really have a photo of that? Like, just, I don't know.
I mean, that seems a bit flagrant to me.
Yeah. That would be like people that would have a photo, like an autograph, like picture of a porn star, right, on the wall in their living room. Like, bedroom, maybe. Your man cave or your, like, whatever, your little personal room, maybe. But in the living room,
yeah,
probably not.
Yeah.
Like, here's that picture I have of Harvey Keitel flipping me off. Like, okay, I mean, I guess you're proud of it. That's cool, but it's like, it just seems so out of place there. But okay.
So
hey.
yeah, so his mom's like, "Are y'all sure you got to go out on a night like this?" And he says, "I got to carry on for Pa, Ma. Got to carry on the Lord's work, just like you taught me." So then there's more viscous white fluid pouring down on the city.
Yeah, sticky rain is all over the place.
Just clinging to the wall. See, that's what's happening up here in this top left panel. Is somebody turned on a black light. Whole city just fucking lit up like a Christmas tree.
Holy shit, New York is horrible. I'm no detective. I don't even like mystery novels. Far be it from me to figure out a clue. Okay, wait, whoa. Let's back up there to Shadowhawk there, right? It's like, I don't feel like solving no mysteries. I don't want answers. I just feel like breaking some backs. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, you gotta want to do a little bit, just a little bit of like problem solving detective work is something to be like, oh yeah, you're the guy. I mean, like he's in the right place at the wrong time.
Yeah, so Shadowhawk does not want to be a detective. God knows this certainly is a big neighborhood.
So I just have to say, all the jokes we can make about the rain, and then this next picture here, the guy sitting there, he's out there, he's just raging at the sky, and he's screaming out loud.
Head back, mouth open.
Right, head back, mouth open. The power to take the city back! He's screaming, and all this viscous rain is going right into his face and his mouth. Just like, oh, God, that's so nasty. And especially the ones that are dripping off his chin. It's so bad. It is so bad. It's the most disgusting book. This should have been X-rated. then it and Lady X would have had like a line comment.
Woo!
Okay.
He always feels better when he puts on his uniform and has his daily cocktail.
Very nice. Kudos.
He feels like he's got power. We know what kind of power. Power to set things right. That kind of power. Power to take back the city.
The power. The power things are right. Power to take back the city. Cusco's power.
Oh, but it's okay because, hey, God is on his side. He says as he looks over at this group of what must clearly be gangbangers as far as he's concerned. Look at them laughing, carrying on, listening to that rap music.
Yeah, so it's three guys that are walking. And this rain is not just falling. This isn't just a falling rain. This isn't a pouring rain. This is like a freaking monsoon. It's like a deluge of rain. And these guys just walking, like with the kind of rain where it doesn't matter how covered up you are, like you're still getting soaked.
Yep.
And these guys are just casually walking in the rain, like one's got a trench coat on, and the other's just got a regular jacket. So his jeans are just clinging to him.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, in the vapors. So
I declare,
in a baseball cap. So which is doing absolutely nothing at all. Like, and they're just casually walking. Nobody does that. If it was a light rain, maybe. But just casually walking, carrying on a conversation. This is one of those rains where like the rain's coming down so hard you can't see or hear shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You just step out and you're soaked. But yeah, they're all just like walking along, just like, so anyway, that's how I lost all this weight.
It's like, you tell the best stories, man.
How was your sex life?
So they must be gangbangers. Why else they would be out on a night like this wearing them baggy clothes?
Does Jim Valentino actually know any racists?
I think I'll have to say that kudos to Jim Valentino because I don't think he does. So, like, good for you, Jim.
Yo, man, doing you be getting in my face? Don't you? Okay,
like forget about me. Like don't you be getting in my face?
Don't you be getting in my face? Okay. Well, he said into the line, sucker. So they didn't just immediately get hostile with him.
He's like, yo, man, don't you be getting in my face? And he goes, oh,
you read that line. I'm not gonna.
No, now I gotta read the line. Damn book. Fucking coward. So, and this action scene makes no sense at all. But so he just jumps down at him and like lands in like the superhero pose. He's crouched down on the ground, and the guy's like pointing at him like Uncle Sam wants you. I mean, that clearly is like an Uncle Sam wants you pose.
Oh yeah, he totally referenced that.
And he's like, yo, man, don't you be getting in my face? And the guy goes, you'll do nothing, darky. which the line wasn't even about him doing anything. He just said, don't get in my face. So then next thing you know is the guy who's pointing, the black guy is pointing at him. He is on his back, shoving his head into the ground with his knee on his back while doing a side kick to the other guy. So how he got behind him to get on top of him because he's facing him, but the way he's got him down on the ground, he's shoving his face down, he's on his back, and then he's kicking the other guy.
Yeah, the way that hand is angled, he has to be down on his face.
Right.
For a minute there, I thought the way the legs were that, like, he pushed him down and, like, knocked him on his back, but Not the way those hands are.
So he would have had to like somehow quickly gotten behind him or grabbed him, pulled him to the ground, and then spun to get him down there. All right, so you can read the next line of dialogue.
You'll do nothing except, of course, get yourself into trouble in spades. Ha! I made a funny.
Yeah, I tricked you into reading that. And it's in spades.
In spades. It's all like highlighted in red.
Ha! I made it funny. Oh my god, this spoogie rain is too much for me.
It's pretty bad.
I'm gonna have to wash my hands. I feel like my fingers should have condoms on them just holding this book. It's horrible.
These little finger caught things.
Yeah. So then Shadowhawk is running and he's like, there's so much noise in the city, so many sounds to try and sift through. No one could pick out just one, not unless he was enhanced in some way. I've just got to hunt and hope that I'm hello. That's him. It's got to be him. So is Shadowhawk enhanced in some way? Because he mentioned that I guess he would have to be.
I guess. I don't know.
I guess I should have read more Shadowhawk.
Yeah, I only read the first issue.
Shadowhawk 2. This is a Shadowhawk 2 of the Shadowhawk 2 number 2, 2 of 3. So this was just a 3-issue story from Shadowhawk 2. Okay. Anyway, that's gotta be, that's him. It's gotta be. That's him. That no good son of a, stop! What, huh? He goes, you're Shadowhawk.
Shadowhawk, hawk.
In the title font that was used for the first book, but is not the font used for the second book because of the way it's laid out. So here, this guy here, he's got the one that he originally beat down. He's like holding him, and the guy's, I guess, completely unconscious.
He's back on his back now.
Yeah. I guess he was beating him up. And this guy's got these big blades, like, coming from his forearms that go over his hands.
Yeah.
Which, like, you wouldn't be able to open up a door.
Right.
Because even to grab the doorknob, the way you'd have to hold it and to twist, you'd have
to move your arm in from the side to be able to do that.
Right. So if I'm going to open up a door, I'm going to reach forward and grab it and twist my wrist. But you can't because the big hook, like, knife thing would jab into the door. So you'd have to, you'd have to put your arm parallel with the door to grab and twist. So as he's holding this guy here, like, this blade should actually be in this guy's chest from the way he's holding him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be able to punch him. He'd only be able to stab him.
Yep.
Because, okay.
He probably has killed all these people.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I guess there's someone out there killing them, right? That's what the cop said. And so, yeah. So then Shadowhawk, he goes, and you're the murderer who's appropriated my name. And Shadowhawk punches him. But Shadowhawk's got these, like, claw things that stick off the front. So when he went to punch him, he really just, like, sliced his face open, which there are no marks there. They sliced his face open.
Yeah.
And then he says, yes, I call myself Hawk's Shadow. So on top of that, you're not even original.
So he didn't even call himself Shadowhawk.
So I know you're going to have a problem with this because you sent me a picture the other day. It was like, I wish I could find the guy. Ooh, yeah. Oh, if I ever found the guy, that guy. Oh, ooh, you're going to, ooh. So I want you to take a look at panel 2 and tell me.
Oh, Christ.
What's wrong, Acomi?
The lettering. Lettering is really important to making your pages look professional. One of the worst things you can do is let your lettering bump up against your word balloon or something. It's just all part of planning out your page, but whoever did the lettering on this, instead of making their word balloon an oval, it's basically shaped like a D. Like they just cut the edge off of the left side of the word balloon.
And at first I thought it was because of the panel, but the upper word balloon is not bothered by that.
Yeah, and it's a full bleed panel.
And it comes out further than that one does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's full bleed. It goes past the safe edge. So, oh my god, that's awful. That's awful.
So this unoriginal guy who calls himself Hawk's Shadow, and I've taken on your sacred mission to rid our streets of vermin that, and then Shadowhawk kicks me and goes, no, our missions are not the same. I don't kill. And he says
this, he attempts to kill the man.
Right, as he punches him with these like 4-inch or 3 or 4 inch claws on the front of his gauntlets there. He goes, "That's the line I never cross. I won't kill him. I'll just cripple him." What we don't know, and you find out later, I think in Shadowhawk 4, is that he actually has a really big stake in a place that makes wheelchair ramps. So that was Shadowhawk's secret. So then he punches him again with his claws, and he draws blood, but we see no, outside the guy spitting up blood, we see like no cuts on his face.
Yeah.
And then Shadowhawk, the Hawk Shadow goes, "You're insane." Now I love this next panel here, where you see the shadow on the wall of Shadowhawk's face where he's standing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, whatever. But you've got the red light up eyes of Shadowhawk, which don't make any sense. Like, why if it's a shadow, unless his eyes are projecting like red out, like I don't see how that's working. And do you want to read the next line of the dialogue? Or?
Hell no.
To be continued.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.